Chapter 9, the sixth morning. The outpost looked like it had been through a lifetime of war. Smoke curled lazily from blackened barricades, and the ground was littered with twisted panels and burnt-out drones. The morning sun, thin and pale, filtered through a haze of dust that hung low over the camp. Every surface was coated in a fine layer of ash. The air smelled of iron, fuel, and something faintly rotten. The scent of last night's battle lingering in every breath. Captain Reeve stood near the shattered section of the southern wall, helmet clipped to his belt, his eyes scanning the horizon. He hadn't said much since dawn. His armor was scarred and streaked with dust. The once gray plates dulled almost brown. A few meters away, soldiers were dragging debris into makeshift barricades, stacking what was left of the prefabs to seal the gaps. Lieutenant Mara moved among them, steady and composed as always, though her face looked older under the dim morning light. She directed with quiet precision, never raising her voice, never showing the fatigue that weighed on her like armor. Every order she gave was practical, grounded. It kept the others steady, the illusion of control holding the line more than any wall could. "Charge line set?" Reeve asked, his voice hoarse. "North and west are live," Mara replied, brushing dust from her gauntlet. "South's compromised, but Lennox says he's got something creative planned." Reeve smirked faintly. "That usually means we're about to lose another wall." "Probably," Mara said, then glanced toward the watchtower. "But if anyone can keep that side standing, it's him." Corporal Lennox was indeed busy, half-crouched in the rubble, hands deep in a nest of cables. His armor was caked in soot, and one of his gloves was patched with duct tape. A cigarette burned between his teeth, the smoke curling into his visor as he worked. He glanced up when Reeve approached. "Morning, Cap, or whatever counts as morning on this rock. Coffee's gone cold again." Reeve crouched beside him. "You're still alive. That's good enough." "Barely," Lennox muttered. He gave the bundle of cables a sharp tug, and a row of jury-rigged mines flickered to life along the southern trench. "There. Won't win any engineering awards, but if they come sniffing round again, they'll get a surprise." "Nice work," Reeve said. Lennox grinned, weary but proud. "You're not wrong about surprise. Half of this lot's wired with prayer and blind optimism." Reeve gave a quiet laugh. It felt strange, almost foreign. "That's standard procedure now, isn't it?" "Pretty much. Speaking of optimism," Lennox sat back on his heels, looking toward the smudged horizon. "How many days left before relief gets here, you reckon?" Reeve didn't need to check his wrist display. 4. Lennox whistled low. 4 days. Bloody hell. Feels like we've been here a lifetime. "Feels longer," Reeve said. "Think the relief will actually come?" Reeve met his eyes. "They'll come." "You sound sure." "I have to." The midday heat settled like a weight over the camp. They worked in near silence, repairing what they could, stripping weapons for parts, and patching armor with whatever wasn't melted beyond use. No one complained anymore. They were past that stage. Words had become a waste of strength. At one point, Mara joined Reeve beneath the shade of a scorched comms tower. She passed him a canteen. The water inside was warm and metallic, but he drank it anyway. "How's the South Line?" she asked. "Held together by Lennox's creativity." "That's either good or disastrous." He nodded, smiling faintly. "Bit of both." She glanced out toward the valley. The land beyond shimmered in the heat, jagged shadows stretching long and thin. We've seen no movement since last night. They're licking their wounds, Reeve said, or watching us lick ours. Mara lowered her gaze. We lost 6 more. Reeve didn't answer at first. The silence between them was heavy, but familiar. They'd all lost people. Names blurred together after a while. Get them logged, he said quietly, and take their tags. She nodded, then hesitated before speaking again. You ever think about what happens after this? He looked at her. You mean if we make it out? Yeah. He took a slow breath, glancing toward the jagged skyline. I'll probably spend a month sleeping. Then I'll put in a transfer to somewhere cold. Snow, mountains, no mud. Mara smiled faintly. You'd last a week before missing the noise. He gave a quiet laugh. Probably. They stood in silence for a while, the wind humming through the cracked metal around them. Then the sound of laughter, real laughter, drifted across the yard. Lennox was sitting with a few of the surviving privates, sharing a tin of ration beans and a flask of something that definitely wasn't regulation. The mood was light, not joyous exactly, but human again. 4 bloody days, he was saying. That's all. We've just got to keep breathing until the cavalry shows up. Piece of cake. One of the younger soldiers, face still streaked with dust, gave a tired grin. Think they'll actually make it through the storms? They'll make it, Lennox said firmly. Command'll send something big, you'll see. Dropships, air cover, probably a big shiny officer with clean boots to tell us how lucky we are. The group chuckled. Maybe they'll even bring decent coffee, another added. Now that, Lennox said, raising his flask, would make all this worth it. They laughed again, the sound cracked and raw but genuine. It carried across the camp, small and defiant against the silence of the planet. Reeve and Mara watched from a distance. Still finding reasons to laugh, she said quietly. That's why they're still alive, Reeve replied. As the day wore on, the work slowed. The heat faded into the long orange dusk, shadows stretching across the yard. The crew gathered by the main fire pit, a circle of cracked fuel barrels and metal sheets welded together, and placed more fuel into the flames. No words, just silence and the soft hiss of burning wood. The firelight danced across their faces, flickering against armor pitted with scars. After a long moment, Lennox broke the silence. Few more days, he said quietly, voice carrying in the still air. That's all we need to hold. Few more days, and we're on a shuttle home. Reeve looked into the fire. 4 days. Mara nodded. We can do 4 more days. For the first time in what felt like forever, it didn't sound like false hope. Night came slow and silent. The floodlights hummed back to life, casting long spears of light across the ruined outpost. The horizon glowed faintly with storms in the distance, lightning flashing low under the clouds. Reeve made his final rounds, walking the perimeter with his rifle slung across his chest. The soldiers nodded as he passed, exhausted, dirty, but still standing. At the north wall, Lennox leaned against a crate, staring out into the dark. He offered a tired grin. Quiet night? So far, Reeve said. Lennox gestured toward the sky. You ever notice how bright it's getting up there? Reeve followed his gaze. Beyond the thin veil of clouds, the faint glimmer of orbital lights flickered. Satellites, or maybe something more. Could be the relay coming back online, Lennox said. Could be the rescue ships. Could be, Reeve replied. He didn't say what else it could be. He didn't need to. They stood in silence for a moment, the faint wind carrying the scent of dust and ozone. Somewhere far off, thunder rolled across the plains. Lennox smiled tiredly. Captain. Reeve nodded, eyes on the horizon. The lights of the outpost burned steady through the night, fragile beacons in the vast, empty dark. And for the first time in days, there was no screaming, no gunfire, no tremor beneath the earth, only silence and hope. There is always a story to be told out here in the frontier, as long as there is someone to listen, like, and subscribe, and join us again for more.